Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I just want to thank Mother Nature and God, first and foremost, for giving us as people in Central California a little bit of a break of the intense, hot summer weather that we've had. It is currently right now, at the time of this recording, 83 degrees right now in the middle, close to the end of July, approaching August, and it is not super hot right now. I just kind of want to let shout out to my boy JC MN, that I'm grateful for this little break in the heat that I know and I'm aware of, and I'm prepared every summer that it's usually very brutal, very, very, very brutal. But I'm looking at the 10-day forecast right now. I'm not seeing a single 100, which is fantastic. Much better than last year's summer. Last year, if you remember, I thought the world was going to melt. It was getting so hot, and the forecast was like, I could have swore I saw it was like 125 for certain days. Now, that was a future cast, but when you see that, you're like, oh no, that is like inhabitable. You can't be outside at that point. There's no way. But 83 right now, currently. Isn't that awesome? To me, that's just, incredible. I mean, I would not want to have it be over 100. That you can just feel it. Every single type of degree matters. You actually feel it. And just having that bit of a cool down right now is actually very cool. It's enjoyable. You don't want to be that hot for that long. At least I don't. I don't know anybody who actually likes summer because of the temperature. Yeah, we like it because it's sunny out, clear skies, but if it wasn't as hot, we wouldn't be sad about it. We'd actually be kind of happy about that, which I would be happy, right? I'd rather not have it be super hot. Sunny, clear, but mild would be awesome. So just a little bit of a shout out there. I don't give a whole lot of shout outs during the show, but I thought I would touch on that a little bit. It is a sad week, though. In the terms of music-wise, the great Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. And if you don't know Ozzy Osbourne, he has a lot of very, very good songs. He's been known in the music business for a long time, a legend, and I guess you could kind of like the genre of music he would be is like early heavy metal, rock music. But yeah, I mean, songs like Crazy Train, Iron Man, Mama, I'm Coming Home, like those hits that, every time you hear them, Ozzy Osbourne, man. Biting the head off of a bat during a concert, to being on I think he was a judge on The Voice at one point in time, maybe even American Idol. I can't remember exactly where he judged, but, he became quite the showman. Recently, I believe he had a farewell tour that was, that had just completed, I think a few weeks ago. And he had just recently passed. Very tough, very sad to see that happen. I grew up with Ozzy Osbourne, my dad showed me his music. I played it on Guitar Hero all the time. He was he's like an artist that's on my playlist and has been on my playlist, since I've been making playlists, you know? So it's hard to see somebody like that pass away when he's been a music icon pretty much your entire life, your entire conscious life of you realizing and knowing how important that person is to something that we all love, which is music, right? I think it's really awesome how music is nothing like a movie, whereas good music is pretty much universally like loved by a majority of the people. A good movie is as well, but not to the extent as music is. We all kind of like tend to gravitate to good music a lot easier than it is to gravitate to a good movie. There's just something about music that really captures and captivates multiple people from all types and all walks of life. I think that music really has the power of doing. When we go to concerts, right? When we go see somebody that we enjoy listening to their music, we don't necessarily need them to create new music all the time, right? It's weird. Like, we like the hits. I'm a huge hit guy of, music groups that have like the hits. Like, I would listen to those all day, right? The new stuff, is good or is bad, but it's not as good as the hits. The hits are what we go to and listen to all the time, I feel like. I mean, I like AC/DC, right? I love Highway to Hell, Hell's Bells, Thunderstruck. I love, love, love the hits so much. Now, they haven't made music in a while, or at least new music. But, I mean, it's going to take a lot for them to top those songs that I had just mentioned. It's almost unfair. It's almost as if, music and performing, you can kind of get away with not creating anything new and still able to entertain masses. And I mean masses of people, without putting a whole lot of creative effort into creating new songs. Now, sure, you can, make some here and there, a new song, but it won't be, I mean, the people like the old stuff, which is crazy, right? It's nothing like comedy. I've noticed this a lot whenever I watch a special on Netflix or wherever it is, right, of a comedian that I enjoy to watch. I always look for newer stuff, right? You watch a comedy special one time, and maybe you watch it again with some friends, maybe with your family, but like you earn for newer material from that comedian, from that comic. I enjoy every time when Dave Chappelle has a new special on Netflix. I need to see it as soon as I can. But I also love his older specials, and I've seen pretty much all of his other specials on Netflix and even with the ones before. But I crave new Dave Chappelle specials. Like, I need them, and I go to them as soon as they're released or as soon as they're announced. Like, I mark the date on the calendar. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make time for that one because I need to see what Dave has in store for me and for all of his fans. And fans of comedy in general, right? I got to see what this guy's got up his sleeve. It's something that I need to see. Or like a new movie, right? A new movie. Like, you don't want to see the same thing twice. You don't want to see the same thing over and over again. Whereas music, I mean, I can listen to a hit like 20 times in a row and not be bored of it, right? I don't know what it is. Music just has that thing that we all kind of need, and we just kind of like need to hear it again and again and again. I don't know how to put it other than that. Like, it's just something that we need to have on repeat that continues to make us feel like I guess in a way, nostalgic or just give us a good feeling. And I don't know. I think that in a way, that's kind of dumb for us to think that we don't need new music because what we have is good enough, right? I'm not discovering new music that often nowadays. I'm really not. At least new music that I actually enjoy. I like what I like. I'm a rock and roll guy. That's what I am. An alternative as well. A little bit of hip hop. A little bit. But yeah, it's just I like what I like. That's pretty much it. You can't really continue to, I guess, bank on. Well, I mean, you can, right? I mean, other bands do this all the time. They always play the hits, and those always get the most pop. I've seen it all the time, right? From many different artists and many different groups. That's what happens. I guess you can kind of play on that as long as you can, as long as you think that you can, and continue to ride that wave. Whatever works, I guess. You see a lot of times, at least I see when I look up like bands who perform, on the regular, like who are like on tour and stuff like that. Like I'm a huge Green Day fan. I've said that many times. And I look up their live shows and their concerts, and I see how many people still attend these shows. Outdoor, indoor, wherever. It's like always packed. And I look up the ones on YouTube too, like the most recent ones, because they're still on tour. And you can see like how many people still attend these shows for a group that still plays and comes out with new music, but has a lot of its, a lot of the catalog that's in the show is older music that's been played before, and those usually generally get the most pop from the audience. It's universal, I think. It doesn't matter like if the song hits you and makes you feel some type of way, whether it be sad, happy, gives you energy, makes you feel good about yourself, you can relate to it. Music has that power where it can really, give you a ton of emotion and a ton of feeling in a song that's like maybe 3.5 minutes, right? It's so powerful. Music is. You can go from like modern day music to like old, like classical music, right? I will say this. I feel like I am also I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to music and different types of music that I actually, am able and willing to listen to. All right. I studied music for 4 years in high school, right? That's a cool way of saying that I was in band for 4 years. I played trumpet. And when you are in band, you kind of, develop this this appreciation for something that sounds really good. Music is for the most part, it's a collaborative art. It's a collaborative task that you must do, whether it's a band of like 4 people versus 30 people. You all come together to perform a piece of music to its absolute perfection so it sounds good to others. It's called a performance, right? And music is like the only art that's out there where I think that you absolutely need to be perfect for it to be even considered to be good, right? Now, it all kind of depends like who listens to it, who likes it a lot, who likes it a little, and who doesn't like it at all. Whether or not, whoever's listening to it, to give it a chance, to give the song or the piece of music a chance for it to make its mark on somebody, it has to be performed perfect. It can't be 98% there, 99.9% there, because if you have a tuned ear, you're going to know when it sounds not good. An off-key, off-tuned note, lyric sung at the wrong spot, falling out of tune or falling out of time, falling out of tempo. You can hear that, and it makes it not good, right? We all have, A lot of people in United States are required when they're growing up to take some sort of musical education course in junior high, high school, I think. You're required to take like an arts class. A lot of people choose choir, a lot of people choose band, right? Those two you can kind of, are pretty similar in the fact that you got to be perfect in order for the music, the art that you're performing to sound good and to have a chance when somebody listens to it. It's got to be perfect. So I think that me being in band for 4 years, right, studying and performing music for 4 years, kind of develops your ear a little bit. And it actually kind of makes you like able to seek out like good sounding music and something that works. You kind of get a little bit of a crash course. I mean, I'm no expert, but like you can tell what sounds good and what doesn't sound very good. At least on a level, on like a first level basis of what actually sounds pretty good and what doesn't. And by the way, like when you are in a band, you play a lot of music that is, familiar and not so familiar. The familiar stuff still sounds good to this day. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I like classical music. I enjoy it. Ode to Joy is a beautiful piece of music that is universally loved by so many people. I don't know what it is about that piece of music. And if you know, you've heard it before. Something about it is just so, it makes me so happy and, loving my life so much. It is a great piece of music, Ode to Joy. If you haven't heard it, you have. You just don't know the title. But you should check it out. I think it's Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. I don't know which technical like number or whatever it is variation, but it's that one, and it's like one of the best pieces of music ever created. And it's like happy, it's sad, it's victorious, it's it's soft, it's loud, it's brash, it's beautiful. It's incredible. Music has that power to really resonate on all and bring out so many emotions out of somebody. Like it really is like the defining art that transcends all beings on this planet, I think. All beings that have who are able to enjoy the arts and are able to actually appreciate the arts like music, it brings a lot out of you. It brings a lot of emotion, and I think, the title of the song says itself, brings out a lot of joy. It's called an Ode to Joy. I think it really does just bring that out of you. And I think that joy is one of the better emotions that you could experience on a day-to-day basis. We all kind of search for joy in our lives, one way or another. We're searching for joy. The world is not the greatest place when you really think about it. There's a lot of mean people out there that don't really care about you. Don't care about how you feel, what you've been through, what you're going through, who you have in your life, who you lost in your life. It really is, not a whole lot of people out there outside of your immediate family that are going to care a whole lot about you or care what you've been through. Really sad. When you find nice people out there, you really got to cherish them. Hold on to them, because there's not a whole lot of nice people out there. I've noticed that. Yeah, a lot of people are focused on one thing and not the other. There are some good people out there. They're just a little harder to find. But when you do find them, make sure you're nice to them back, because that always goes a long way. It's such an old saying. It's such an old like fundamental thing about life, I think, that's so like easy to do, but we can get lost and forget it so easily. Treating people the way you want to be treated. I always kind of look at that and make sure that I am able to live by that and be an example of that, because that really is something that can make somebody's day, is just being a good, in my case, a good man, at all times of the day that I possibly can when I'm interacting with people. And it makes me feel good too, right? It should make the person feel good, but it also should make the person who is doing the act feel good as well. You feel like you're doing something that's meaningful, that is impactful to somebody else. There's like really no other better feeling out there, I think, than being good to somebody else. At least in my opinion. Hell, and you guys know, I'm a man of opinion. I like to express my opinion. That's why I have a podcast, to express thoughts, opinions, ideas, ramble, rant sometimes. I've gotten a little mad sometimes on this podcast. I ramble pretty much 90% of an episode is rambling off the top of my head. But today I kind of wanted to rant a little bit because I'm seeing a lot of silly things that are online about movies, in general, like silly things that you kind of saw coming, just because of the line of work that's well, not the line of work, but like the writing on the wall, prior events coming, that you kind of saw that this probably is going to have to change. And of course, I have an opinion on every movie I see or future movies coming out, ideas, business models, plans for these movies that are coming out. And this just so happens to be about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that is, still a thing, still a very big thing. Fantastic Four comes out this weekend, and there's been some news, some pretty big news actually, that the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be getting, and this is what I'm seeing online, right? It's been reported by Deadline. A lot of people are reacting to this. A lot of people are wait, is it Deadline or is it well, not Deadline, but I'm looking at Variety right now, which is another like Hollywood pop culture entertainment publication of like what exactly is going to be happening with the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Because, I mean, let's just be honest, it isn't really doing as well as it has been in the past. What's going to happen? And I've been seeing that, after like the last Avengers movie, which is going to be Secret Wars, there's going to be a reset of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and making it so that it is a singular timeline, that's going to be happening, and that it's like gonna kind of, to me, seems like it's going to be moving away from the multiverse, I guess you could say multiverse saga. It won't be focusing on like all these different timelines. It's going to have essentially a reset, singular timeline, which means they're probably going to have to reestablish some characters, bring in some new characters. I've even heard that they reportedly want to recast, maybe not recast, but bring back older characters that no longer are in the current MCU, including Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. What are my thoughts on this, and how do I think that this will be done? How do I think that this will, be, shown? Will it be successful? The answer to that is, for me, like a reset, right? So would that mean that everything that happened before is totally like not going to contradict anything that will be happening in that's already happened in the current MCU. So if that's the case, then I guess, if they're going to reset everything, if they're going to start over from scratch, right? I don't understand. I don't think that they could bring back Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor again. I don't think that that's even possible. I think that that is a bad move, in my opinion. Because, like, what are you going to do that's different that wasn't already done, like, less than 20 years ago? And it seemed to be fresh and new. Like, if it's going to be a reset, you would still have to do it where those characters are not going to be doing the same thing that they did like more than 20 years ago. It would have to be with an entire new type of cast of characters. You would probably have to just start with X-Men and maybe Fantastic Four and the newer people, and maybe eventually later down the road you'd bring back Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, those guys. Like, I don't see how they could, like, in terms of like reset, that means like they're going to wipe the whole slate clean and start over, right? So like, how are they going to do that when that's already, we've already seen like the beginnings of a Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like, what are you going to do that's different that we already haven't seen? Because let's be honest, they tried and are still trying to continue the current MCU. It hasn't really been the most successful thing. Ever since 2019 and Avengers Endgame, it's kind of been like a hit or miss with these movies / television shows. It hasn't really been, in my opinion, followed through with a through line story of what's going to be happening. There's been characters introduced, characters continued their story, and some characters just abandoned flat out. Like, there's no mention of Shang-Chi coming back. There's no mention of Moon Knight ever coming back, nor would he probably even fit. There's been no mention of the Scarlet Witch coming. Is she even dead or alive? I don't even know. Like, there's been no mention of She-Hulk. Is she a thing? Is she alive? There's been no mention of any of these characters that could return, and if they are, then they're just in some stupid, silly TV show that nobody watched, and it's like, oh, you gotta watch the TV show to know that. It's like, all right, I guess I do. I mean, I don't expect to see She-Hulk in Echo or Secret Wars or, whatever. I don't really expect that to happen, but if that's going to be the case, maybe I should just watch or read some cliff notes of what happened, and then I'll be caught up. So it's like there's so many things where they have tried and then just abandoned, and I think it was because like when Disney went from a new type of leadership role in terms of the content and the production of the content and the quantity over quality era that Marvel went through, it kind of made it so it's like, well, we already introduced so many other characters into the MCU, but we don't know what to do with them because they wanted us to put out more characters, even though we didn't really have plans for them. Now that they exist, we don't really know how to bring them in that would make sense for a good story. And I'm like, duh. When you put in that many characters in such a short period of time, and ones that, can have really cool stories and be really cool additions, but you not knowing where to put them, it's like, well, hey, I actually liked Moon Knight, or I liked She-Hulk, or I liked the one chick from the Doctor Strange movie that I saw. What was it? The one chick that like has like the powers and is like the MacGuffin in the movie. Where has she been? Or is Daredevil gonna come back? What about the Eternals? How come they haven't been a thing in like almost 5 years. Like, there's just so many things that have like come out and they just been abandoned. And I think that they just are at a point where it's like, we have too much stuff. We have way too much things that have been started. We don't have a plan to set them up even more. And we need an entire reset. Which I guess, at this point is just like a course correction of what has happened in the past 5 years. When they were under like it was like a different Bob, right? Right now, Bob Iger returned, but it was a different Bob that was running the ship like maybe 3 years ago, which he was the one that, caused the entire like Disney Plus surge in movies that were not good, but there were just more things. I think that when you look back at this and you see like, hey, where did they go wrong? It's the fact that they put way too much out there than they could possibly control, and even had the brain power to think of a story to put all these guys into a team of Avengers, which right now we don't have a team of Avengers right now. If you think about it, there are no Avengers. Like, they're there, but like, who is a member of the Avengers right now that we can be like, oh yeah, like he's a member of the Avengers? Oh, he's not, but he might be, I guess you could say all of them are Avengers, because at the end of Avengers Endgame, when they all band together and they fight Thanos, right? Steve Rogers says Avengers Assemble, and that means all of them. So, I would assume that, hey, that would make them all Avengers. So I guess technically, with that cast release of the people who are going to be in Avengers Doomsday, that, I mean, hello, they're all going to be considered Avengers. There's a lot of things, though, that they've started and just have not finished that are in production. There's a lot of characters that are teased, too, like in these movies that have come out recently that they've not even put in a single ounce of work to put them in something else. Like there was so much teasing around Mahershala Ali's Blade, Kit Harington's Black Knight, and they have been nowhere to be found, which is insane to think about. It's like, hey, guys, you had this whole like roadmap, and now what happened? I just don't see. I don't know exactly what their plan is, but whatever it is, it's like there doesn't seem to be a plan at all right now, which is insane. But maybe this reset would be what they need. I heard that it was going to like take place after 2032, the year is what I heard, which is like so long from now. But it's like, hey, if you guys are going to be, making a comeback or trying to make a comeback, you got some time to really focus and lock in on a story and, creating or rebuilding a cinematic universe that could be great and as amazing as it once was again. Because back in the day, man, 2008 to 2012, and then from 2012 to 2018, man, the MCU was just racking up win after win after win. Those movies were just so good, well made, good story, good characters that you actually cared about. They all made so much money. Man, it was just a good time to be a movie fan and a fan of the MCU, because it's like these guys could do nothing wrong. They could do no wrong. They made quality movies that actually looked, sounded, and felt good. And now it's like you see their movies and you're like, what happened? What actually happened? There's just so much. It's like overexposure. Way too much stuff is in it, and I think that it's because they didn't really know what to do after Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. were out of the franchise. They didn't put the effort in to establish characters that could replace them. They didn't have, I shouldn't say that, they had the characters, They did not know how to write the characters to replace them. Which leads me to gripe number 2 of the MCU. It was recently said by Kevin Feige that Captain America Brave New World didn't do good because Chris Evans was not in the movie. Kevin, you guys made the decision to write off Steve Rogers' character, or Chris Evans' Steve Rogers / Captain America character at the end of Avengers Endgame. And I have said this many, many times, that Anthony Mackie is a terrific, terrific actor. And he's good. He's really good. And he's got a good character in Sam Wilson. You wrote him a very, very good character that he could grow into, that you can make even better. He was pretty damn good in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series, which overall wasn't the greatest, but hey, he was good. You had a high caliber actor. And I said this from the beginning once the trailer came out. I said that this movie is going to do Anthony Mackie so dirty because he's great, but they're making him a bad, bad movie. I could just see it. And sure and behold, when the movie came out, the reviews came out, it was exactly what I had predicted. He's good, but this movie's crap. And for this guy, Kevin Feige, to say that it was not a success because there was no Chris Evans, guy, you made that choice. You moved forward with Anthony Mackie. You didn't have to, but you did. A lot of people were sad, of course. Steve Rogers was Captain America. Now he's gone. Of course, we get that. Their time came and went. It was a good time. And you made the decision to move on. You just didn't deliver in his movie where he needed to have a good movie for us to really love this guy as Captain America. You just did not deliver. It's the writers, producers, which is you, your fault on this one. There's nobody to blame but yourself. Can't blame the fact that there's no Chris Evans. If Chris Evans was in a movie, a Captain America movie that was bad, right? We would still not like it, even though Chris Evans is in it. It does not matter if he was in it or not. If the movie is bad, it will not do well. As well as you would hope, you know? So it's not because there was no Chris Evans. It's because you didn't give this man a good movie. And you could see it on the writing was on the walls, man. You see any trailer for that movie, Brave New World, and you're like, who is exactly this even about? You can look at the way that it was introduced, you know, the synopsis of it, you know, the concept. It was supposed to be like a down-to-earth, like grittier espionage movie, kind of like the Winter Soldier, and you got a goddamn Hulk in it, like he's fighting the Hulk, a Red Hulk, played by Harrison Ford. Like, I mean, come on, like it's just like you're backtracking on what you had said it was gonna be to make what, some kind of Frankenstein movie, like kind of a Hulk movie, but more of a Hulk movie than a Captain America movie, calling it Captain America. Like, I still haven't seen it, by the way. I want to see it because I need to make that judgment call myself. But I don't think that everyone is out there. I don't think everybody out there is blinded. A lot of people seem to agree that this is not a very good movie, that it's universally not very well liked or well received. So, I mean, I wouldn't probably have to do that much digging and that much research, but I mean, I guess I would have to give it a fair shot, which I'm open to, right? I just didn't think that it was nice or right for him to say it failed because there was no Chris Evans. No, you had an actor in Anthony Mackie to deliver the performance. You did. You just didn't give him a good movie. It's really that simple. And I like Anthony Mackie a lot. I loved him as Sam Wilson. I was ready for him to be Captain America. You took forever to make him Captain America in the show. and the movie apparently starring him as Captain America is not great. It's like I blame you, dude. There's nobody else to blame but you. You made that choice. You greenlit the story. It's not the fact that you didn't have Chris Evans. That's a stupid thing to say. That's like you're hiding behind like, oh, well, it only failed because there was the Chris Evans was not there. That's not true, dude. It's just not true at all. Can't believe that people would actually think that's actually the reason or believe him. That's just like damage control. It's like you didn't make a good movie. We get it. A lot of people saw it. They can all agree that this movie's just crap. Don't make an excuse to why it's good when you know it, why it's bad when you know that's not the reason why it's bad. Come on. And the fact that people that, they only view Chris Evans as Captain America, those are just immature whiners. Like, you already knew, like, if you watched Brave New World, there's a very, very good chance that you saw Avengers Endgame. You know what happened to Chris Evans. You know now that he gave the shield to Sam Wilson. You should have expected him to be the new Captain America, right? I just don't think that the people who are going to be watching this are going to have that same opinion that Kevin supposedly has, that it would have done better if Chris Evans was there. Like, that's not even that's just make believe, dude. Come on. In other news that is not regarding the MCU but movies in general, right? One of the biggest movies next year that I am looking forward to watching on the biggest screen that I can possibly find is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which I've seen the trailer for when I saw Superman a couple weeks ago. Let me tell you this, that was awesome. That was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this. But that's not the story. The story is actually more wilder than that. Apparently, Christopher Nolan, being essentially the god of cinema that he is, the guy is just like makes like the best movies out there. I'm not even kidding you. Like, from Oppenheimer, Dunkirk, Inception, Interstellar, The Dark Knight Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. The guy just makes like some of the best movies out there. Whatever he has, his story is, or whatever thing he's trying to tell, time period, theme, whether it be World War II, biopic, sci-fi, the guy just makes great movies, right? And this is like his first, like, I guess you could say, not really his first, but his second period piece, I guess you could say. Dunkirk was like one period piece, historical period piece, and then this would be the second one, which, I mean, is not really, well, the story of the Odyssey is, a crazy, ancient, Greek, I think it's Greek, ancient Greek story of gods and mortals, which is, in one way, like, epic, grand, and like, I just totally trust that this man is going to deliver like probably his greatest achievement to cinema of all time. Maybe like this movie is like so hyped up that it's like, it could be like, if it's like done good and like done great, actually, it might be like the gods, like the body and blood of Christ in terms of like cinema, being cinema, right? It actually has like the potential to be the greatest thing that has ever like graced cinema ever. It has that much of potential, right? I've read some of the Odyssey when I was in college, didn't understand a word it was, because it's like written in like old timey English, like kind of like Shakespeare kind of. but I've heard it's incredible. I mean, if you go to like Google, right, and just type in like what is the Odyssey, I'll read it to you right now, because it's actually pretty awesome. Let's see. The Odyssey is one of two major epics of ancient Greek literature attributed to Homer. It is one of the oldest surviving works of literature and remains popular with modern audiences. Like Iliad, the Odyssey is divided into 24 books. That's pretty crazy. Let's see. Let me get like an overview. This is from Artificial Intelligence. The Odyssey is an epic poem about Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, and his long journey home after the Trojan War. It chronicles his 10-year struggle to return, battling mythical creatures, facing divine interventions, and overcoming numerous obstacles, while his wife Penelope and son Telemachus face challenges at home. Wow, that sounds incredible. Like just a synopsis alone of what that story is about sounds like an epic, like 3 hour and 40-minute Nolan masterpiece incoming. Like I cannot wait for this, right? The story is, though, that the tickets went on sale a year in advance. This guy is already confident in his film, which is incredible. But they've already sold out, which is insane. I think it was like for like one advanced screening, like one like 35 or 70 millimeter, IMAX screening that went on sale a year prior, sold out, right? And there's already people freaking scalping the tickets and selling them for $200 a pop or a seat, right? There is no filmmaker out there that is generating that type of buzz for a movie that comes out next year. And had that much, sold out of tickets a year in advance for maybe one or a few showings in IMAX. And now already has people selling them, for $200 each. That just really tells you that this man, Christopher Nolan, is the best filmmaker out there right now. He really is. I mean, he has been for a long time, I think. I think we could all agree, like, his movies that have come out the past 10 years have all been like, for me, except for Tenet, for me, have just been home runs every single time. The guy just doesn't miss. He just has cinema in his blood. And he just won't stop, right? But that's kind of insane, though, when you think about it, right? Like, already a year prior, and the tickets were already bought up by scalpers and being resold. You just can't believe that. But yeah, the hype for that movie, honestly, is so real. I mean, I can't. I mean, it's a July movie, right? It's coming out in July. So I'm expecting like the first like teaser trailer to be out in like Christmas time. Because I can map it, right? It's happened before. When Dunkirk was coming out, also in July, he released the first teaser for that in December the year prior. So I'm expecting, you can probably bet on it, dude. I'm not such a big gambling guy. I don't promote gambling because I've gambled in the past and it's not the best. But you could probably make a bet. You could probably do it. Your body, your choice. You could probably make a bet that is trailer for the Odyssey, teaser trailer for the Odyssey. The first one will come out in December, and that would probably hit. I could probably almost guarantee that. That's just kind of the pattern that he's, had, with his movies recently. And I'm pretty sure Oppenheimer probably came out. The first teaser probably came out around December as well. I can actually look it up, actually. Let me see. I could tell you right now. We can see what is... We could tell by the from the past history never. What is it? What they always say? know your history or be doomed to repeat it, right? Let's see, Oppenheimer. Uh, Oppenheimer teaser. Oppenheimer teaser. When did that come out? Let's see. I need to find the official one. I cannot. I have to find it. Oh, crap. Damn it. Where is it at? There's no way it was just an Oppenheimer trailer, the first one. Unless he just released a trailer right off the bat. Okay, so he did. Official trailer. I think this is the first one. I don't see it. I do not see a teaser. But it looks like this one might be the first one that he released. Or they released, actually. Wait, hold on. See this one too. Hold on. Bear with me, please. Okay, that one is the year of. So I'm looking at the Universal YouTube page. They have all the trailers. Official trailer. First one. That debuted December 18th, 2022. Movie came out in July. Let's look up Dunkirk. Dunkirk trailer. First one. What did he label it? Okay, Warner Brothers. There's a lot. This is an announcement. When was this announced? This might have been like at Comic-Con or something. All right. That's an announcement that came out in August 2016. The film came out in 2017. This one might be the first one. Right. This is it. First Dunkirk trailer, number 1, December 14th, 2016. The film came out in July 2017. So, take that as you will. He likes to put out his first trailers for his movies, which are usually summer movies. He usually, pretty much all the time, makes summer blockbuster movies. His first trailers, official trailers, / teaser, whatever you want to call it, normally come out in December the year prior. So I am marking my calendar right now, December 2025. I will be looking out for that trailer for the Odyssey, because that might be the most epic thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, potentially. See what else. Oh, I just heard this right now that the Assassin's Creed will be getting a series, a live action series on Netflix. This actually could be pretty cool. I like Assassin's Creed. I really do. I think that it's a very cool franchise. Fun franchise of games. I recently just had the urge to want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey again. That's a really fun game, but a Netflix series could be cool. Now, to me, Netflix is like hit or miss with their shows. They've had some really big shows and big IPs that they made into live action, right? They've been known for mainly adapting animes into live action. Recently, they did one with Cowboy Bebop. That was a very popular anime, and season 1 came out, and then it got canceled. That was a not a very good, well received one. Then they did one with the One Piece, which was successful. So, I mean, they're hit or miss when it comes to these anime adaptations. Now, they're going to be moving on to a live-action adaptation of a video game, which we've already seen in the past do well and then not so well. Well, Fallout on Amazon, tremendous show. Halo on Paramount Plus, absolutely terrible, atrocious, horrible, disgusting, foul, vile. disrespectful. All like the bad words that you could describe a show. I know that's called something. Is it adjective, adverb? I'm not a smart guy, but it's not good, right? That one wasn't good. And then we had one that was good and then not so good, from what I've heard. In The Last of Us. Well, actually, I can kind of confirm well, I didn't like the first season either, but a lot of people who play the games liked Last of Us Season 1. A lot of people that play the games did not like Last of Us Season 2. So, there's that. So, there's been some good and some bad. The Sonic movies have been pretty good, right? Pretty good as, kid-friendly video game adaptations into a movie, which has been successful financially for Paramount. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that have been pretty good recently. Minecraft was a big success, and then another one that was a big dud was Borderlands, which is not good. So there's been hits and misses. My only thing with Netflix is I feel like Netflix is like they have so much money on Netflix that they're willing to take the chance, but not really put in the quality to make it like last very long. I also kind of feel like it's gonna have like a similar feel and vibe to like The Witcher, which I think is okay because it fits The Witcher, but it might not fit Assassin's Creed if they're gonna be adapting. I would assume like they'll be adapting the games in chronological order. They haven't announced like which game they're going to adapt first, but I mean, I would assume that they would just adapt the first game and then move on afterwards. I would assume that. I could also see them just going and doing Assassin's Creed like 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, like the Ezio storyline. That was probably that because that's like the most popular of the games, I think, is the Ezio storyline and the Ezio trilogy. That could be something that they start with. Maybe kind of have like the Altair bits like as flashbacks in there, or maybe the prequel series could be the Altair story. But nonetheless, like I'm kind of excited for that because the Assassin's Creed movie that we got way back when with Michael Fassbender was not good. I mean, I saw that movie opening day in theaters. It was not a good movie at all. Very forgettable, very bad. Very, very bad. So the bar isn't high for Assassin's Creed live action entertainment content. So I'm going to give Netflix the benefit of the doubt that they'll actually make something that's actually pretty good. Pretty solid, that it'll be at least entertaining with a pretty damn good story. I mean, the story is good in the games, so if they can adapt that pretty well and maybe change a few things that in the games just kind of make it so like, because I feel like the games also like have things in the world and in the lore that prevent them from doing anything that's like super drastic. The way the animus works in it is very and like the whole like outside world, because spoilers if you don't know, you're not real. I mean, like the going back in time and playing through an assassin in the history is like not really like the main thing, the main story, the main plot that is in the Assassin's Creed games. It happens outside of all that, which is cool in a way because it adds mystery and it's like not so simple as you thought it was. But as the games have gone on, in my opinion, that to me, that whole animus and outside world thing just got less and less and less interesting, that I did not care about what happened when I was not actually playing as the assassin in whatever game it was. So if they can make it so it's like a little bit more engaging and like I care more about, like in the first few games it's Desmond, in the other games it's somebody else. So if I could actually care more about the ancestor that I'm, or the guy whose ancestors, he's living the life of or whatever, maybe I'll care more. But in the games, I could just tell you this, like that whole side of the story, I just kind of lost interest in it as the games went on. I'll just be honest with you on that. But yeah, it could be cool. I'm excited. I'm really excited. And you know what? Before I get out of here, there's nothing to do with games or TV or movies or assassins or superheroes or whatever. This has something to do with the topic that I saw today when I was at the gym. They had multiple TVs on the gym, and I saw First Take. And First Take is a morning sports debate show that I used to watch a long time ago that, I would if I could, but I don't have as much time as I did in the mornings. So the topic was, are rivalries in sports still important? I just honestly, I shook my head when I saw that. I'm like, absolutely they are. Sports is about competition. It's about excellence. It's about one team trying to beat another team, right? When you have sports teams that are geographically next to one another, professional, college, minor league, whatever, right? AAA, however you want to call it, non-professional, high school shit. High school, you'd have rivalries, right? Those games matter more. The fans care about it more, no matter what level it is. Of course, they're so important. Of course, this is a sports talk show, and they brought up that question. Are rivalries still important? They're more important than they ever were before. We need to be very careful where American sports are going, because more and more, year after year that I watch sports, the rivalries are not as intense as they need to be. They're a little too soft. They're becoming more and more about the entertainment value of the sport, which at the end of the day, sports do provide entertainment. But also, it isn't a TV show. It isn't a scripted form of entertainment that people know that is written by people to generate shock and awe, to hold an audience, to create more, to make more money as much as you can. This isn't Love Island. This isn't The Bachelor. This isn't Survivor. This isn't the goddamn Jersey Shore. This is sports. Unscripted, unpredicted. Let it be what it is. Let the rivalries be rivalries. Don't make them soft. Don't make them buddies. Keep the intensity. Keep the passion. Keep the money away. I don't want to see it. The fact that this is even a conversation that's coming up is ridiculous to me. Of course they're important. The fans think so. The fans who are buying the tickets to see the games, to watch them on TV, that actually care, that buy the jerseys, that buy the merchandise, that hate the other team. Let that be. That's what it's about. Let that passion be. Let that actually be something that the fans care about and that the team will care about, because the fans care so much about. Please do not let rivalries go in sports. They're already going in college with the alignment, realignment, new conferences. Please do not kill it. You're going to kill something that we've had for years. You've already begun to kill it in college. Do not make it worse in professional. It already kind of has with like teams moving, right? When the Niners and the Raiders were both in the same geographical area, in the Bay Area in California, That needs to be there. That needed to stay there, right? That was beautiful. As much hatred and passion as those fans have for each other, that is needed. That is needed in sports. Steelers Ravens needs to stay. Hell, the entire AFC North needs to stay. NFC East has got to stay. That all has to. Those rivalries need to stay. And basketball, the Knicks, Celtics 76ers, Knicks 76ers, that all needs to stay passionate. Keep the rivalries. They are so important. They cannot be overlooked. The fans care. And when you start not caring about the fans, you're going to lose audiences. You will lose them. So yes, the rivalry in sports is even more important now than has ever been. Sports are about passion and commitment, struggle, the love for the men beside you to overcome and come together to against all odds, win a game, win a goddamn game. Let it be for what it is, please. Please let it be. Don't start to script sports. You're going to kill me. You're going to kill a lot of people that like sports. Do not take away the purity of sport, please. And what it is. Let the passion speak for itself, please. You're already trying to market it to hell and back. And squeeze every dime, nickel, and penny and quarter out of it. Don't, please, for God's sakes, don't. Let it be sports. Leave sports alone. Don't make it a TV show. Do not make it a TV show. Please. That's like that would be my dying wish. Let sports be sports. Please. And that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.